Hi, good morning, or whenever you're listening to this. Thanks so much for coming by. Thanks so much for coming by. Our practice this year is a practice in being present. And some of you may know that for my 60th birthday, um, I got a little white poodle, little miniature poodle. He's a rescue and um, he was rather thin, but he's an energetic little guy. And what I'm finding interesting is this practice of being present, right? Because we're practicing it every day, we're having conversations about it every day. That's where it starts to weave its energy deeper into my being. And I'm loving this conversation this year because of that. So it gives me the opportunity to notice to notice. And what I'm noticing is I'm not fully present with a lot of things because my mind is half of me is keeping an eye on this little sly, energetic, Houdini-ish new little boy, bundle of joy, precious baby, best friend to Buddy. Man, I'll tell you, Buddy's having the time of his life though, and it's all wonderful. I'm just noticing that. And his name is Lucky. And for me, that's what it is right now. But that makes me think, there's this whatever, there's a lot of these things kind of hanging out in our minds that we need to tend to, or just hanging out in our mind for whatever reason may be. And so that stops being fully present, or at least not without effort, right? Or being conscious of this. So it's just an observation, and I certainly know that we all observe different things about ourselves, and that's what makes these practices a little bit fun. Is we get a deeper understanding, we observe ourselves and notice things about ourselves. And the beautiful part about it, I find, is that I have an opportunity, since I'm aware of this now, I can change it. And we've learned lots of tools, different over the past 5+ years. We've talked about a lot of things, and um, I just think this is the perfect conversation for this year. Um, I think the previous conversations we've had have benefited us in our understanding depth of, at least anyway, of knowing ourselves, because that's what we've been talking about is our relationship with ourselves, our relationship with life, our experience of life, enjoyment of life. We can do things to enjoy our experience, this wonderful opportunity of being human, even if it's just a little bit more. So thanks for coming by for the practice. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I guess it depends on how you look at it, right? So let's take a couple minutes to soften and relax and release. And I'm going to put the music on for that. There we go. And to me, whenever I can close my eyes in this softening, and sometimes, let me tell you, in the middle of a hectic day, I just go into the restroom and I close my eyes and take a few breaths. All these mini vacations. I get little mini vacations with my breath. Frequently. Doesn't always in the bathroom. But thanks so much for coming by. And if you can allow yourself to just release stimulation from coming in, To me, I definitely think closing my eyes stops some of the stimulation. Otherwise, my mind's looking at things, oh, that picture's not quite straight. None of that. It'll be there. Inward. We're coming inward, coming inward. So stopping the stimulation, at least the best you can at the moment, and softening. Begin to soften everything you can soften. Some things maybe you can't, but a lot we can. And if we just begin the softening process, one thing affects the other. And you know what? If we do this enough, the body will get the hang of this and it becomes easier, it becomes automatic, and it'll help us release some of this stress and tension. So just softening the jaw, the face, the shoulders away from the ears. Just let the body settle a little bit and notice this tension that you're holding somewhere, and begin to send your energy there a little bit and let that soften. Sometimes when I soften the body like that, automatically it creates space for a nice deep welcoming breath. And it feels so good. Sometimes I'm a little tightly wound and I need to begin with the breath. Help the body soften. For me, that's how it works. And so I just let the breath soften. So if we can get that breath a little slower, a little deeper, like a smoother rhythm, not this short, shallow, rapid breathing, which tells the body, wind up. We're trying to get it to calm down. So if we start there, we may start to find the body to soften. Wherever you are, eventually come to some kind of softness and stillness, and just breathe and just be. Just be. And this is the practice in itself right here. Letting loose of this other stuff to be with ourselves for a bit here. The Book of Awakening by Mark Nepo is the book that we're following this year. New York Times best-selling book, described as having the life you want by being present to life you have. And we all know that we're blessed beyond measure. I think we get caught up sometimes in this frivolous stuff. And sometimes it's not so frivolous. Some of these things in life are no joke. The only thing I can say and hope for is that with these practices, some of these jolting things in life, maybe we can be with that energy a little bit differently than prior to this understanding. I know there were times in my life, and one specifically that I lost. I had years in that unsettled state. So I'm just hoping that this message is felt in a deep, profound way and helps us enjoy our experience of life. Being present to the life you have, having the life you want by being present to the life you have. And the message we're offered today, this day number 1928, is titled The Issue of Fairness. The issue of fairness. As long as we see what has come to pass as being unfair, we will be a prisoner of what might have been. As long as we perceive what has come to pass as being unfair, we'll be a prisoner of what might have been if that didn't happen. This is freaking powerful already. Hold on to your britches. I mean, it's not fair sometimes, huh? This is a very painful issue to discuss for most of us, because so much of how we see the world hinges on a sense of fairness and justice. Those truly noble human concepts that govern how we treat each other. But the laws of experience in the natural world, in which we have no choice but to live, do not work this way. Rather, the larger universe, of which humankind is a small part, is a world of endless possibility and endless cycle, a world in which life forms come and go, a world itself that has erupted and reformed countless times. Just take a breath. This is why the Hindu tradition has a deity known as Vishnu, who both destroys and bestows life, often in that order. Although fairness and justice are beautiful gravities by which we as human creatures try to live with one another, the storm and the germ, the termites eating the foundation of your home, the errant stone breaking your windshield, the waves swamping your little boat. These molecules of experience do not understand what is fair. They just bombard us in the endless cosmic dance of life that just keeps happening. When I was struggling with cancer, I was asked repeatedly to release my anger at the injustice of having cancer. Quite honestly, I felt a great many things: fear, pain, anxiety, frustration, uncertainty, exhaustion. But I did not feel that having cancer was unjust. When was I or anyone promised perfect health? An ant can struggle for yards with food in its mouth, only to have a dead limb, tired of hanging on, crush it, or someone step on it, right? What makes human beings presume to be exempt from such things? Let's take a pause here. We need to feel this. We need to feel something. We need to feel something. I know now that over the years, my own cries that life is unfair have come from the inescapable pain of living. And these cries, while they're understandable, have always diverted me from feeling my way through the pain of my breakage into the reformation of my life. Somehow, crying unfair has always kept me stuck in what hurts. Do you feel that? Does that resonate at all? That's what I was talking about. There's these things that come our way, getting hung up in that energy. I will say I was stuck in that unfair for many years, and that just very much resonated. It's this unfair. Somehow crying unfair has always kept me stuck in what hurts. I offer what has surprised me in my pain, that life is not fair, but unending in its capacity to change us. That compassion is fair, and feeling is just. And that we are not responsible for all that befalls us, only for how we receive it and for how we hold each other up along the way. Take a breath. So, break it down. Stuff's gonna come our way. Things aren't always fair. Crying unfair keeps us stuck in that space, that energy. Life is not fair, but it's unending in its capacity to change us. And we may not be responsible for all that befalls us. We are responsible for how we receive it and for how we hold each other up along the way. Definitely. So we say, wow, there's a challenge. It's hard to, some of these things. How do you get over it and all this other stuff? And I'm right along here with you. What I'm seeing and hearing and practicing at times is it lets life be a little bit softer. And maybe fairness doesn't mean as much from a different perspective for me. And while I haven't had anything rip-roaring harsh hit me in some time, I'm hoping I can keep this message in my heart. Because either way, we're experiencing life, right? How we receive it and how we hold each other up along the way. The meditation that is offered says to sit outside if possible. But I always think we can visualize this. Sit outside if possible and watch the pollen carried on the wind. And meditate on how some of these pollen grains will become flowers. And how those flowers will wilt and seed other flowers yet to be. Meditate on how the human drama with all its unknown turn of events unfolds in much the same way. Breathe deeply and look at the many dreams and mistakes and joys and pains of your life as pollen on a larger wind. Some will grow and some will not. Do not deny your pain in experiencing life, but try not to heighten the hurt by labeling it tragic or unfair. Try to hold the pain of your changes with compassion rather than justice. Soften the jaw, just take a breath. Oh. Thank you so much again for sharing in this space. For coming by to practice with me. This is what they say, if everybody did this kind of stuff, it would make the world a better place. I'm so glad we're here. We're doing good. As long as what we see, what has come to pass as being unfair, we'll be a prisoner of what might have been. And deep and honest gratitude. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Mark Nepo. And we'll see everybody tomorrow. Namaste. Namaste.